Hey guys, how's it going? RedMaster, and welcome back to another Cards and Castles sequel video. We've got a big video lined up for you guys today. That is because we are taking a look at some more screenshots from the the beta, the alpha, whatever stage they're in of that sequel game. And what makes this a little bit special, a little bit interesting, is that I actually don't have a Twitter link to kind of have you guys follow in the description for this one. That's because these screenshots are completely exclusive to the RedMaster channel. Vectivus, the same dev who we interviewed a while back for the channel, has sent us over some exclusive, sneak peeks to showcase to you guys as a way to kind of keep you updated on the progress and where they've come so far. So I'm really excited to kind of get into them with you guys and show you guys. Because, of course, I've taken a bit of a sneak peek already myself, but I haven't really fully digested them, so that's what we're going to be doing with you guys here today. So if you are looking forward to the sequel, let me know down in the comments as we are about to go ahead and jump into the screenshots. And I guess without further ado, because I've got nothing else to kind of put here, let's go ahead and get right into the first picture of the CNC sequel. Alright folks, and here is our first image, our first preview screenshot sent to us. Not as much going on in this one as probably some of the ones later on down the line, but still interesting nonetheless. We do have a couple of things to unpack here, so let's get right to it. Obviously, the first thing I'm probably going to address here is the additions to the top layer, the overlay, if you will. Looks like we've got some new buttons over here, which were different last time. Same with this character emblem. That seems to be completely new. Maybe like that's going to be a profile image, I think. Something like that to kind of set to your character. I mean, it doesn't help that Leanne is here on both of them, but perhaps there might be more options like that. I'm not sure if they're unlockable in any sense, but I do like that. Nice little profile to kind of represent you, if you will. Same with the extra buttons down here. Appears to probably be, I mean, by the smiley face, I can probably maybe assume emotes. Because, I mean, we haven't been able to kind of click on the castle or do anything like that. So I figure this is going to be our emote button. Same with the settings option here. That is going to be probably like our menu in CNC1 where we can do like the surrender or just some settings in that one, which is fine. I do like the little extra buttons up here. Kind of keep everything nice and compact for you in this little upper corner, if you will. And on the other side, it seems that there is a additional tab as well. Looks like there's a little card counter up here with the number corresponding to it. Kind of seems like that is going to indicate hand size, if you will. So no more of the, huge stack of cards under your opponent's name and, miscounting, is it 6 or 7 or 8. It looks like there's going to be a clear, concise number here, which I think I like. It's definitely appreciated for those who might not be, strong with numbers. I'm not to be mean with that, but I mean, everyone now and then can miscount a number of cards in the hand. But this I think is a nice, clear indication of, all right, he's got 4 cards in hand, or he's got like 8 cards in hand. How can I plan around or prep myself? Something along those lines. So I do like that on the overlay. On the battlefield, there isn't too much that's changed here. I do think the only noticeable difference is the inclusion of these health bars. These weren't here in any of our previous screenshots. Usually the units we looked at were fully health. There was no combat going on. So this is kind of interesting. The health bar kind of shows off that there might be some scaled up numbers to me. That's what I'm kind of going with at that point. Things like, if the numbers were 3, 4... I think they'd still end up keeping the numbers down here, but that kind of gives off the vibe that they're going for more scaled up numbers for attack and defense. So kind of curious on that one. Don't know how that's going to be precisely calculated either. I don't know if you can judge what's going to be like 24 damage versus 26 damage, or they might tell you. Probably that might probably be the way that they go here. But interesting that there is health bars here. Kind of giving off the aura of scaled up numbers, which could be very reminiscent of, some of the original Cards and Castles formats, where they did actually have health bars in the beginning rather than the numbers. So kind of bringing that system back and kind of modernizing it into this new sequel, which is going to be interesting for sure. And then for our final one for the screenshot, I think the thing that you guys are probably the most interested in is the hand. Obviously, no new cards per se, but a lot of adjusted cards and familiar faces returning in some new forms. So, going to go ahead and quickly examine that. Obviously, I can't bring up the cards, unfortunately, it looks like. Things like, abilities or stats I can't really bring up because obviously these are screenshots and he did not have that opportunity to show us. But we can actually tell a little bit here that there is probably some change going on here. Obviously, maybe the most noticeable one, or probably two of the most noticeable ones, are Stables and Ancient Arbor. Stables as a neutral 2-drop building, I want to say, which, I mean, if that is true, then buildings are also a confirmed reappearance for CNC2, which is great. I think the buildings were fine. I don't think they would need to be dropped, and this kind of reinforces that. I don't know if the placement is the same as in C1 or if it's going to be different. Obviously, he's not kind of trying to play it now, so that is a bit of a shame. But hey, it's a 2-drop neutral card, which is certainly interesting. I'm not sure where that's going, if it's going to be a generic buff support like Armory is in C1, or if it has some kind of archetype support. Again, not a whole lot that we can tell by that, just by the fact that we can't really see the abilities. Over on the other side, too, with Ancient Arbor over here is a 3 gold, 1 mana drop, I want to assume that is. So cards are going to be having this extra little mana drop as well as a gold drop if they, I guess, maybe are more powerful or maybe have more significance. So that's interesting to see that he is a 3-1 rather than a 6 gold. So definitely some adjustments maybe have been made to him on that front. Other than that, though, I mean, the rest of the cards seem to be, I'm looking at it now. Hunter is a little more expensive in this version as well, being 5 gold rather than I think 3 in C1. So she probably has some kind of buffed ability or buff stat line for her to cost that much, which is interesting to see. Leanna as well, a reduction in gold and a mana cost. Again, it's so hard to tell what these abilities could be if they're going to carry over from C1 or if they've been sort of manipulated in some way. Obviously, because I can't pull up the cards and read them in screenshot form. But Leanna being, I guess, reduced to a 7-1 might be a different ability than the Spirit Link trees. And same with the Hunter, maybe because she's buffed up. No longer companion. I don't even know if there's companions in this, actually, now that I'm kind of talking about it. Hunter could be just a generic range. Not sure about that, but that's kind of the way it seems like it to me. Maybe a little more expensive because she's got some kind of ability behind her. Kaiju as well. Similar gold cost, but a fat mana cost as well, being a 9 mana. Could indicate that he has some big beef behind him, some big power. Hopefully I can, have a cost reduction on him at some, or at least hopefully I can get a cost reduction for him if he costs that much initially in your hand. I'm kind of curious as to where they go with Kaiju, because in C1 he's obviously got the Last Will, the Slow, the Stealth. Not sure if all of those abilities are carrying over into this new product, so that fat mana cost could be reminiscent of some kind of bigger power behind him. Again, we'll just have to see once we get closer to gameplay. Perhaps some of them can be shown off as well. But overall, the first screenshot already pretty telling of some things that are going on. Scaled up numbers, some vast revamps of cards here. And a cleaner overlay at the top, including some nice profile pictures, so overall some good stuff happening. But with that being said here, like I said, the first screenshot, probably the one that has the least amount of stuff going on in it right now. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these other screenshots and show you what's going on over there. Alright folks, and here is one of those bigger screenshots that I mentioned earlier in the video here. There is a lot to unpack, so let's go ahead and go from probably the least important to what I think is the most important here in this screenshot. The least important probably being the fact that Dremoth and Swordsman have been ported over. It looks like they're going to be making some appearances in the game, which is nice. I kind of figured Swordsman would definitely make it, but good to know that the Dremoth and subsequently probably Dragons as well, because we can look at the hand. Vilaroth is also in here as well. So some kind of, maybe the Legend Dragons for sure, making some appearances over here. Not sure if the Drakes will follow suit, but good to see. Following up that, also the Merchant's Estate looks like it is going to be a building back in the game here, and looks like it's going to be keeping that same ability, We can see by the gold count here in our perspective that we have an 11 rather than the 10 over here. So it looks like the merchant state is going to follow the same ability of that +1 gold. Curious to know if Gray's going to make an appearance then in the game, if that's going to be the case here. But also, despite the fact that, merchant estate is, carrying over in the same fashion, kind of see that the building placement for these are also pretty similar. If you look around here, I mean, the only place that it kind of could be, well, I shouldn't say that. If it was a building, the mechanic just like C1, the merchant state probably could have been placed over in this tile, or this tile, or this one, which it is in. So that kind of gives off the idea that maybe the building mechanic is going to be kept the same way, or at least the building placement of it is going to be kept the same, which is fine. Didn't see a whole lot of issue with it in the original game, so glad to see that that is being kept over. But there is one more thing on the board that I do want to address before we get into the hand, because I know you guys are looking at the hand and you probably want to get into it. But if you couldn't already notice, there is some little particle effects that are going on here. Looks like perhaps snow of some kind being flurried into the screen here. I'm not sure if that is a foreshadowing of perhaps board effects, general board effects, like a snow of some kind. If that has an innate ability, it'd be really interesting to see if that is the case, because I think that's something that people have wanted in the game for a while. Some kind of overall board effect that continues to happen onto the field. Maybe some kind of spell brings forth a snow flurry or a blizzard, and that is going to create some kind of bonus for your guys, or abilities, or restrictions for the opponent. Not sure the direction they could take that in, but I am certainly curious on that one, because it's just overall that sort of big board effect is something that I've kind of been interested in the game, at least from for as long as I've been playing. It'd be interesting to see that kind of unfold here. But with that being said, let's take a look into the hand. Obviously, there is a couple of new things to kind of look over. And I think obviously the first and foremost is going to be that new card in the hand. Shark, a 3 gold pirate card. Always nice to see new cards kind of be made for the game. Good to see they are making new content specifically for this game as well. Kind of wondering if everything's going to be ported over, or if there is going to be some rotations with new content as well, now that I'm kind of looking at the new card. But I can't see the art for the card. Obviously, it looks like it's not in yet, so kind of unfortunate there that we don't get a sneak peek of what it looks like, nor do we get a sneak peek of potential stats or abilities, which is sad, but that is fine. Good to see that there is new units coming in, new cards overall, I guess, in general here, so love to see that addition. But on top of the new card, there is some old favorites making a return in the hand here. Looks like that Amplify card, the Flames of Eternity. I think we might have seen this in a previous screenshot. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it looks like it might have been changed since the last time we looked at it, so that's kind of interesting as well. Followed up by Kraken, which is a 4 gold, 4 mana drop. That's interesting. That's certainly a step down from his current form in C1, of course, being 10 gold. That reduces with each monster you play. Not sure if he has that same monster support now that I'm looking at the cost. He might have just a new ability or a new purpose. It is looking like it's still going to be kept as a unit, though, just because it's called the Kraken and not some kind of name or verb like amplify, if you will. So interesting to see where he goes. Same with Vilaroth. He actually has a green number over his 3, so that kind of tells me that he can be reduced in cost. He has sort of a price reduction on him that might be triggered in some form or fashion. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but the mana cost looks to remain the same from what I could tell by the card here. So interesting to see that Vilaroth is sort of I guess can become cheaper, has some kind of interaction with what's going on the board here. Not sure what triggered the cost, obviously, because again, we can't see the ability. I would assume that's going to be thrown onto the card, hopefully, but you can't exactly tell from that. But overall, like I said, a lot to unpack from this screenshot, specifically the fact that there is some sort of, board effect here, the new cards, and I love it. I love it. It just seems like we're going to be getting some new content in C2 that could completely change how we play the game. despite the board being a bit different, which I know some people are probably upset with, I'm just excited. You know, seeing new content like this is just building up my anticipation ever so much. Alright folks, and here is our final image to go over. Now this one's going to be a bit briefer, not a whole lot going on in this as opposed to the last one, but still some interesting details nonetheless. First being the appearance of Genevieve here in the icon, so it appears that this avatar will be changeable. What kind of options we'll be getting? Well, we definitely know Genevieve and Leanna are at least planned. Not sure what else we could be seeing, nor if there's any sort of unlocking conditions for them, but still good to see nonetheless. There is some variety in that for sure. Taking a look at the board now, though, and there is a different story being told. Obviously, Leanna is hitting the board and with a bunch of Trents, so she probably will be keeping that same Trent summon ability here, although I noticed a distinct lack of green circles. Obviously, no indication of Spirit Link, so, you know, maybe that's not in yet, or maybe they're not planning these Trents to have a Spirit Link off of Leanna, or maybe these Trents are just in deck, but I find that hard to believe given the fact that there are 4 of them, and I believe you should be only having 3 copies in deck still. I don't think that's going to change from the main game. It could, but I definitely think that Leanna has some kind of Trent summoning ability, just like in C1. As opposed to the blue side, though, Swordsman we already referred to in the previous image. We know that he's coming back. But the Paladin, Legionnaire, and the Serpent Witch all making returns as well. I think Questing Knight / Paladin might have been in another image. I'm just blanking at the moment here. But I know Legionnaire and Witch we haven't had. Now, of course, I'm only referring to Legionnaire by his old moniker. I know it's like Hassan City Guards now in C1. But it's still like Legionnaire to me because I did play and he was at a pretty strong peak back in those days. But anyway, with that being said, Legionnaire and Witch making appearances as well, so those two look to be confirmed for the game. Although the thing I really wanted to get into was the fact that we can confirm some additional cards from that hand that he's got here. Massive hand. Actually, both players seem to have big hands here. I assume this is not just 1-0, I believe. Well, it is 1-0, but it's not just 1, it is 10. So, that doesn't look like the cleanest, but I'm sure they're going to fix that up. But in the hand, though, is I kind of wanted to take you guys and show you what's going on here. Obviously, the card at the very end here, Archdruid Leanna, makes sense because she's also right there. And we've already seen that before previously. We see Dragon Crest Shield. That's the sort of shield image here, and we're getting a better look of it over here. So the Dragon Crest Shield making a return. Might be renamed, though, because it's not Dragon anymore over here. It's now just Holy something. Holy what, I'm not sure. But still 3 gold, looks like, so that's going to be great. The Blessing of the Trent Arm. I can tell that that is this card right here next to the Holy Shield. And that is going to, looks like 1 gold, 1 mana. And it's definitely been rebranded to something. You can tell by this right here, not exactly the Blessing of the Trent, so I'm not sure what that might entail too. It looks to be like damn something. So maybe, hopefully, maybe it's some kind of you know, a card that's going to like dampen, maybe. Because that's the first thing that I think when I think dampen, maybe. Just a guess there. It would make somewhat sense because I mean you're not gonna have a card that just says damn, I imagine. But anyway, moving on, the little hammer end of the Verdict. So Verdict also making a return into the game here. 2 gold, 2 mana, so definitely has some kind of change in here, no longer being considered a trap. Although again, no idea if traps are going to be coming back in this one. But still, Verdict definitely have been rebranded to some kind of card here. I believe the 3 gold card here might be a reprint of Infinite Knowledge. For those of you who might be newer to the game, we used to have a card, I believe, have the same name, Infinite Knowledge, although someone can correct me if I'm wrong. But this was the draw 3 for 5 gold spell in the Legacy edition, in the Legacy versions of cards before those got purged from the system. So Infinite Knowledge might be making a return here. 3 gold, not sure the ability though, so always good to see here. Then some repeat copies, Verdict, the Shield again, Verdict again here. Something over here, the same card looks like, same artwork. That might be the Seed of Regrowth sky, the little hill in the blue sky back here. So that also might be making an appearance here, but again, just like with the blessing of the trends over here, it looks like it's being repackaged as something else. So certainly curious on what that could be. And then finally, rounding out the list, we have Dremoth the Eternal. So Dremoth from last game, we now have a cost for him: 6 gold, 9 mana. Haha, funny joke. But with that, it was sort of a lighter way to end the video here. Not as groundbreaking as the previous image, but still a lot of details coming out from here. More on the cards and what we could be seeing potentially, as well as learning that these images are probably going to be customizable throughout the game. Whether the options are going to be limited or not is still yet to be seen. But overall, a quieter way to end the video, and one that I think I'll take here because it's just easier. I should stop talking. Transition. Alright folks, and with that being said, we are going to bring this video to a close. Let me know what you guys think of the screenshots showed in the video here and what you're most excited to see from these little sneak peeks, if you will. If you did enjoy, be sure to hit the like button, share with friends, of course, subscribe if you're new or haven't done so already. It is the best way to help us grow and expand the channel here on YouTube, just by clicking that subscribe button at no additional cost to you. And remember, these images are, of course, very early development here, so things that you did see in this are most likely, able to be changed. So don't expect any of the things that you've seen here to be in the final product. Things, of course, change all the time. That's just how testing goes. So with that being said, guys, that's going to do it for me for now. So until next time, stay gaming.